You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Hey guys, it's Zoom the TBT of Charge and Hayner. We're really happy to have the Valpo alumni, the crew, GM Jason Karys and Jubril Adekoya. Guys, how you guys doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming on. So let's get right to Jubril. So I know Jubril's a little time limited. We're kind of double booking him. So we're gonna let Jubril kind of answer, and Jason and I'll chop it up at the end. So Jubril, you're coming off a really quality season in the UK. What was it like playing for the Sheffield Sharks?
Yeah, so it was a good experience. It was my third year in that league. I played for the Leicester Riders for the 2 years previous, and it was good. We had some pretty competitive guys, high-level guys, and we were pretty competitive in the league, won a lot of silverware. But yeah, I was in Sheffield for half the year, and in January I ended up making a move to Germany, Pro A.
Okay, that's actually my understanding is while the UK league is solid, Pro A is a big step up. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you look at it. Like, I believe the quality and the respect from other countries that Pro A gets is much higher than England, even though England is extremely talented. It's just like the culture of the game over there isn't as forward as European markets, if that makes sense. They're more worried about football or soccer, however you want to say.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So what team in Germany are you with right now?
I finished the year with a team in Pro A called Paderborn Baskets.
What cities that in?
Paderborn was the name of the city. It's a small place.
Okay, got it. Did you guys avoid relegation?
Ooh, we did not. We did not.
So I always loved the pro reg thing.
The situation actually was it's a super young team and just had no experience. And they called me and another TBT alum, actually. I forgot the name of the team he plays on, but Jake Biss. We were both called at end of January to try to help them out. And we got better and stuff, but just not enough time to turn it around, I think.
I'm sorry, you said Robertson? What team did you say it was? It was Robertson.
I don't know the name of the team. I just know my friend played named Jake Biss with the
No, your team.
Oh, Paderborn. Paderborn.
Paderborn. Got it. Okay, got you. So you guys fought hard, but ended up going down a rung.
So one more time, I'm sorry.
You guys fought hard, but ended up going down a rung.
Yeah. We were competitive.
It happens.
But couldn't get it done in the end.
Fair enough. Well, that's relegation, and it's always interesting at the bottom and the top of all European leagues. Do you have a ride for next year?
Still seeing what I'm going to do for next year. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet.
Okay, fair enough. I know it's always interesting because a lot of people understand, because the one big difference, oddly enough, in overseas versus in the States is the multi-year contracts are a little more rare in Europe. Like it's pretty rare to get even a 2 or 3 year deal, isn't it? Am I correct? It's usually it's all 1 year deals, right?
Yeah, I would say for the majority of people, it's 1 year deals. But I mean, once you start getting a little bit more profitable markets, a lot of people will sign like 1+1s or maybe 2 years. I've seen 3 year deals.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, nothing like the NBA where people are signing like 5 year deals or anything like that. I haven't seen that.
Understood. So let's talk a little bit more about the matter at hand. So you guys are playing with the crew. So how's it feel to be playing for your old college alumni team again?
It's cool, man. I just, how Jason mentioned earlier before we got on air, I think it's just cool. The tournament gives you the opportunity to just reconnect with the fans and your old teammates and all other alum and compete. That's how what your relationships with these people were based upon is how you competed in college. So to do all that on a big stage like this, I think it's super cool to be a part of.
And Jason, we're going to keep Jubril mostly involved, but I don't want you sitting there falling asleep on us because I know Jubril does have to go. But how, as an alumni GM, how easy was it for you to recruit this team? How easy was it to get these guys to commit to play for Valpo again?
Oh, yeah. For the last 3 years when we've kind of put this together, it's been really easy to kind of get our base together. And we already, my vision of it was from our years, we're not reaching from a bunch of different eras. It's really the base kind of all played together already. And so those guys loved each other, had a ton of success at Valpo. Most of them played overseas and wanted to come back and do this. So there was really no recruitment other than we try to fill in a couple pieces. What are we, missing talent wise, and who can we bring in from other areas? But the base of our team and kind of what is gonna give us our best chance of winning is the fact that we played together in the past. We have that chemistry already built in, and these guys are ready to go.
So Jubril, bringing you back in. That's a great comment, Jason. Jubril, bringing you back in on this. How does this team want to play? Like, is this a team that's going to get up and down? Is this going to be a half-court team? Like, what style of play can we expect out of you guys, Jubril?
Jason's probably the better guy to ask that, but as I know Jason, I would assume he's trying to just kind of spread us out and get us in space and keep things moving. I think he has the same ideology as me in the sense of like kind of what we had success with in college. It's like good basis of game plan and foundation to build off of. So I'm sure it'll be similar to back in the days.
So Jubril, keeping it with you for a minute, then also talking about this, like, what of your teammates are you most excited to share a court with again?
That's a good question. I'll say Karys. So I didn't really get to play with him in college, but we practiced a lot to get on the red shirt and worked out to get her love. But I never got the chance to play competitive minutes with him.
Okay. So Jason, I will go back to you on this. So like, how do you see this team playing? Is this going to be an up and down team? I'm looking. It looks like there's some size, but it looks like it's more a lot of guards and wings. So does that sort of speak to this team just trying to get up and down?
Yeah, as you look at our roster and you see guys like Jubril, Adekoya, Corey Johnson, these are guys that are like in that 6'7", 6'8", really strong body range that have the ability to guard other team centers while still being able to like stretch it to three on the offensive end. I think that's going to be where a lot of our success comes from, is floor spacing. And then, we added one guy who was not a Valpo alum, but is a Northwest Indiana local in Roman Penn, who played for Drake and was, been to the NCAA tournament 3 times, first team all conference 3 times in the Missouri Valley, and is just one of the best point guards in the country when he played in college. Before we had a phenomenal point guard last time we ran with Keith Carter. He actually tore his meniscus. He had a great career playing, 3 years with Jubril. But I look to Roman Penn to kind of get downhill, get in the paint, and then spray it to 2 through 5 that can all shoot the 3. So I think that's going to be our advantage.
Jubril, I want to build on what Jason just said. I really like the concept of teams that can actually play 5 out. How comfortable are you behind the arc?
I have confidence in my shot. I don't know the exact number. I know I shot around 40% in Germany and close to 50%. And close to 50% in England. So I'm confident shooting the ball from 3.
Yeah, I think if you have your 4-man shooting 50 and 40% in top European leagues, I think you can legitimately play 5 out, no problem. So Jubril, I'm looking at the teams here. We'll get to Jason on this one again in a minute, but I'm looking at this probably the most organized roster here. You've got All Good Dogs Indiana kind of co-hosting, it feels like, even though Butler really is the alum. You got some really royalty of your non-alums in Eberline, Fort Wayne, and some other great schools in Menominee, Team Arkansas. There's no place to hide. Any matchup you get is going to be an absolute dogfight from the tip. Is there a team you'd like to face in the first round?
Honestly, I'm sure you're familiar, but a lot of people that aren't familiar with the culture of Indiana basketball, especially like the grassroots phase of Indiana basketball, I don't think any of those games are going to be easy per se. Like, it's not anybody you'll just be able to kind of, we can punk them or something. I think there's too much pride behind just kind of the culture of basketball in Indiana for that to happen. So I don't think any of the game will be easy, no matter who we get matched up with.
Jason, looking at these 8 teams, this is a crazy 8-pack. What are the chances the winner of this region just comes out bloody and bruised? 100%?
It's going to be a battle. All these games are tough. We're in the toughest region, but we love it because like Valpo culture is built on like knowing that from outside looking in, we're going to be the underdog, but time and time again, we've been able to win against the big dogs. So a couple matchups that I'm excited about. If we run into Butler, that's an old school, Horizon League matchup, like
Horizon
back
League,
in the
yeah.
day. You know what I mean? So that could be fun, and that's obviously where we're going to be playing. The other one I would bring up is our former leading scorer from 2 years ago, Brandon Wood, has joined Team Arkansas, even though he's a Valpo alumni.
Oh,
So we got a
oh,
little,
whoa.
yeah,
That's
we all
weird.
got a chip on our shoulder here, and we're ready to go, against anybody we're matched up with. But I'd be excited about that one.
I'm gonna have to ask. We're gonna interview Monty Patel, who's the GM of that team, pretty soon. I'll have to ask him about the Wood connection. That'd be a pretty interesting first round matchup that might get juicy. Okay, Jubril, you gotta go. I'm gonna ask you one more question, then cut you loose. I know you gotta roll. What do fans really need to understand about Valpo as a culture that'll make fans get behind them when they get to see this on Fox?
I mean, just off the same core group Jason was mentioning, we really had success, and I think we built a culture of winning. So I don't think it's going to be as easy as showing up and beating us. We're going to be trying to win just as bad as anybody else. So, I mean, I don't like to talk too much. I mean, I just know we're going to be prepared, and I'll try to time out there. So that's all I can really say.
That's what you like to hear in a podcast guest, is I don't like to talk too much. It's your favorite thing. Well, Jubril, I'm gonna let you go because I know you had to get to a run. You got to keep in shape and be ready to run these guys off the course. I'll cut you loose. Jubril, thanks for coming on. Jason, let's keep chopping it up, okay?
Thank you so much for having me, man.
See you, Jubril.
Okay.
Take care, man. Okay, well, thanks to Jubril for coming. That's pretty cool. So, Jason, obviously, I really love Jubril's confidence. Like, it won't be easy to get matched up with. I don't think he understands how the seeding process is going to work, because I don't look at this. I think you guys are probably going to be on the bottom half of the bracket. Would that be a fair guess?
Yeah, I think, like I said, from the outside looking in, that's probably going to be where we end up. But I love, like, one anecdote about Jubril. I remember his sophomore year, we kind of went through each year together. I started as a manager and ended up playing on the team with them as a senior. But I remember after our sophomore year, he had, helped lead the team to a NCAA tournament appearance at Valpo, which is, we're coming from a one bid league. It takes a lot to get there.
Yeah.
Next year, our junior year, lost in the conference tournament, was one of the last four out of the NCAA tournament. And then that first week of games, I love, I'm a huge basketball fan. I asked him, hey, do you want to come over and watch these games? And he's like, in his room, like, I'm not watching these games. Like, we should have been there. So, I mean, just that kind of struck me as like, I'm always a happy-go-lucky, fan of the game. He's a competitor. And that's how the entire group is built top to bottom. So, when we come in this game, like, whether we're an 8 seed or we're a top seed, like, these guys are going to come in and compete. And we showed that 2 years ago when we played Gutter Cat Gang, #1 seed versus an 8 seed. And, we had leads in the second half. We ended up, losing the game by 8 or 10 points. But for a 1 versus an 8, I think we showed that we belong on that stage, and, we're gonna compete with anybody we get matched up with.
So definitely, this is going to be a strong region. We definitely can compete. I think what makes this region interesting too is we're pretty open on the show about. We're both huge TBT fans. Somebody started the podcast, but at the same time, like, we also acknowledge they're not above juicing matchups to juice the gate. Like, they'll openly kind of, if you ask them, they'll say the gate's a big part of how it keeps this financially viable. So Butler and Indiana I won't say they'll be protected, but they're not going to give them any tougher of a first game than they can get. So is that something you would probably try? Do you think that's something they probably won't be a first round matchup with you guys? You think they'll probably be able to avoid that in the first round, at least those two teams?
I have no idea what they're going to do. I think that a Butler matchup will be fun, and I think that it's possible that from their perspective that they might look at us as an 8 seed. You know what I mean? We have guys who have had like incredible college careers that maybe haven't played as long overseas. So I don't know how they're evaluating our talent. We also have one late addition that's, probably going to be a, starter caliber player from us that, we're getting ready to announce here in the next couple days. But the way that our, lineup is shaping up, I'm not sure how they're going to view us. But yeah, like I said, we would be happy with any matchup that we can get.
You
I
know,
like Team
I
Arkansas.
can actually, yeah, they're really good. I'm actually trying to figure this out because I could see something where they kind of basically made it where because with assembly ball, they're gonna put them on the final separate sides of the bracket, I assume, because no matter what, there's a gate. You guys actually will bring your own gate too, because you guys have a large fan base and it's only 2 hours away, and so will Metamaki. So I assume they'll make sure none of you guys play in the first round. Be my guess. And they'll probably make Eberline and Fort Wayne play each other because they're not alums, and it knocks out one of them guaranteed.
Mm.
So with that kind of matching up, I think it would make a lot of sense to give you Arkansas or do the Butler game right off, do the Horizon League matchup, which would be like a 2-7 or a 1-8. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm really curious. This is also there's not a true 8 seed. You see like 2 1 seeds, 2 2 seeds, a couple of 4 seeds. Like you don't have an 8 seed here. You have like an 8 seed masquerading or a 4 seed masquerading 8 seed. It's a very deep region, and it's full. It's complete. So obviously, it's a good thing
Curious.
you guys run to. But do you guys?
What would you put like, 6, 7, 8, not in any particular order? Who do you think is at the bottom of the bracket there?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what I would do a bracket for. Like basically, if I was also trying to protect matchups, so I would definitely want. I'm trying to make money too on this event, so I'd probably put Butler as the 1. They're the host, and they're gonna have a pretty good team. And I would definitely put Hall as the 2, simply because keep them separated. I don't
Yeah.
want them having a perfectly tough first round, so I would probably give. The problem is there's no team to hide. There's 7.5 good teams here. I mean, Fail Harder is a first year alum team. I think they might be maybe the softest team, so I'd probably feed them to either Butler or the Hall. And then after that, I mean, if you make Eberline and Fort Wayne play each other to do the non-alums in a 4-5 or a 3-6, that leaves Arkansas and Mackey. I would assume you'd do Mackey, Arkansas on the Assembly Hall side to get Indiana Mackey, which means that only leaves you with Butler. That actually basically puts you in a 1-8. No matter what, how strong your team is, it almost doesn't matter. Like it makes sense from a gate and matchup perspective to put it where they actually get that either in the first round or second.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'd put you. I wouldn't say you're an 8 seed, but I'd put you at the 8 seed if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot of factors with TBT. You know what I mean? They're trying to promote these games and get as many eyes on them as possible, and that's mutually beneficial for us. So, we're all about it.
Absolutely. So speaking of the mutually beneficial thing, obviously they have a new TV rights deal. I was wondering your opinion on that because they're going with Fox Sports now, which honestly I'm a huge ESPN guy, but the reality is like the best way to get a future good deal is to tell someone you're willing to walk away from a bad deal. So I think they'll find their way back to ESPN at some point, but being able to go out on their own and go with a new TV partner, I think really speaks to their guts and really speaks to their forward thinking. And there'll be fewer games on streaming because FS1 doesn't have streaming, as my understanding. They don't have the same streaming package. So some games will probably be direct to consumer on like a YouTube or a site, but they have 3 over-the-air games actually. So how much do you think like having games on free TV, like literally rabbit ear TV, is a legitimacy shot for the tournament this year?
It's a tough call. When I first heard about the deal, like I was kind of, I think it was a big selling point for our donors and for our players that like these games would be on ESPN. And as they, get into the later rounds, even getting on to like ESPN1, ESPN2, is part of, even how we got into this was, me and a couple buddies were sitting there watching at a bar, one of the TBT
Yeah.
games years ago. And so, you still have that with it being on Fox, it could still be, on TV, like you're saying. I think ESPN was a huge selling point, but like you're saying, with the long-term view, and we want to make this, kind of an alumni event and, something that we can do every single year and compete for the championship, whatever is, in TBT's best long-term interest, I think is going to come back and help all the teams that participate and, the players that rely on it for publicity and for, the experience. So if they're growing, we're growing, and I'm excited for that.
That's a really forward way of looking at it. I think that's really great, actually. You talked about that sort of aspect of that. Also, how hard fundraising is. Obviously, TBT is an expensive endeavor for the teams. I like to give people a chance to shout their sponsors. Who are your sponsors this year? Who's helping make this a reality?
I appreciate you saying that because I have a big thank you to give to Peggy over at Kelsey's Steakhouse, a local Valpo staple, one of the best steaks you can get in town. And, she's been a fan and a supporter of Valpo basketball for a long time. And she's just a wonderful lady. Like we have our team meals from every regime at Valpo have always been at Kelsey's, and she develops relationships with the players, with the staff. And so when we heard about the $10,000 entry fee, that was my first call, and she was happy to help. And
That's amazing.
We're getting the logo on the jersey, and Kelsey's Steakhouse is really backing us. So big thank you to her. And also Alec Peters, who's not going to be able to play. We hope one day he's able to play. He was a guy that was on that same Valpo team that was drafted after his college career, is still having a great Euro League career. And scheduling and injury risk, he's not able to play this year, but he was supporting as well, because these are all his guys that are playing, and
sure,
look at it as a family. So he's been really generous as well to make this a reality. So those two big shout outs, couldn't get done without them.
Yeah, you gotta give love to the people doing the bills. Yeah, I'm looking at this actually. This Kelsey Steakhouse. There's some pretty good food there. I'm a vegetarian, but I'm sure they could take care of me if I found my way up to Valco at some point. Okay, we'll leave with this, Jason. I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight, but like Valpo, I mean, they're probably their best known. And again, I like to rub my partner's face in this, but they're probably their best ever shot was the Drew shot, which of course my partner can never remember because he's an idiot and he's not here tonight. This what going forward is Valpo's place in the basketball world? Like they're mid-major royalty from that one play, but how does this event help Valpo remain in the national consciousness? Like, what is the benefit for the Valpo and the Valpo alums to get behind your team in TBT?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at like mid-major schools like that, I mean, it's impossible to just stay on top, going to NCAA tournaments year after year. I think there's always ebbs and flows. And everything that we can do as alumni to help support that build back up into national relevancy, which I think really comes from, the main push is like, can we get to that NCAA tournament? And we have, all eyes on Valpo and, what they're building over there with Roger Powell at the helm now, doing a really great job. But, events like this, they just add on, and they get the community, they get donors, they get everybody that's involved with the school excited. They give them something to do during kind of a dead sports time. So we're gonna kind of create an event around this and get donors and alumni out to Indy supporting, what I mean, like have a dinner with the team. And I think that all that like community building just helps to elevate Valpo basketball, and then Valpo as a whole after that. So it's great. This event is so helpful for a team like that.
And Jason, I usually ask the players this about closing this. How do you plan on spending your share of the $1 million?
I'm invested in TBT. If I can get my chunk of money, I'm putting it back into the team. I'm paying back some of our donors. And we're gonna make another run next year, just in case. Who knows? Maybe TBT bumps it to 20,000 next year. Let's hope not. But I'm gonna keep investing in the team so we can keep this thing going.
Don't give them any ideas. Do not. I almost want to edit the podcast now. Take that. I'm not going to though. Okay, Jason Karys, GM of the Crew. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
And this has been Zoom to TBT, and we, as always, are signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hainer. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.